Hi, it's me again, Tunji from Ceasar Graphics. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and remember to ring the bell so you will be notified when I post my tutorials. Okay, today we are going to be working on this spot poster, and without any further ado, let's jump into today's tutorial. So for this project, I'm going to be using the 1024 by 1280. So I'm going to make my resolution 100 because I'm going to be applying too much effect here. I'm going to call this spot. Click OK. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to bring in my background. So I'm just going to drag this and then drop like so. So I'm going to zoom out and scale this. Right click, and I'll rotate this like so. Make a copy of it again. Hit the free transform shortcut and I'll rotate it again. I'm going to push this up to somewhere around here. So I'll add a vector mask and I'll select my brush and I'm just going to brush to take out the lighter part of the background layer like so. Alright, so I'm bringing in the picture of my characters now. So I'm going to bring in Mercy. Okay, so I'm going to shift select the three layers and I'm just going to scale this down. So I'm going to position this here like so. Then I'm going to make Messi a little bit bigger. So I want it to look like Messi is closer to the camera. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to add highlights to the skin of the characters. So I'm going to start with Mercy. So I'm going to select the layer and select Skull. I need to move this down, so I'm going to just push this up like so. Alright, and I'm going to say I want it to apply to just only the layer of Mercy, and I'm going to hit the Ctrl I on my keyboard. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to select the brush tool. Flow is set to 10, and I'm going to zoom in. Alright, now select the brush tool and set this to white. I'm just going to brush. Alright, so I'm going to click on this button here to say I only want this to apply to the layer of Mercy. I'm going to add another curve again and I'll make this go higher than the other one. And I'm going to click on this icon again and I'm going to hit the Ctrl I on my keyboard to reverse the selection. So make sure this is set to white. So I'm just going to brush so. So I'm going to select the layer of Griezmann and I'm going to select the curve adjustment again and I'll click on this button and I'm going to push this up like so. I'm going to use the Ctrl I on my keyboard and I'll zoom in and I'm going to do the same thing again. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to put everything in a group. So I'll select the first layer and select the last layer like so, and I'm going to hit Ctrl G on my keyboard to put it in a group, and I'm going to rename this. I'm going to add a vector mask. Then I'm going to zoom into the bottom of the frame and I'm going to select the brush tool, hit size of my brush. So I'm going to switch this to black and I'll apply my brush to the vector mask of the group. So I'm going to add camp new now to the scene. Alright, so I'm going to add a vector mask. I'm going to scale my brush. I'm just going to take out some part of that layer. I need to make my flow go up to 24. I'm just going to take out some part of the layer. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend this. So I'm just going to double click here, hold on Alt to break the wheel, and I'll say okay. I'm going to make a copy of this. I'm going to drag this and drop. I'm going to double click here to bring out the blend if option, and I'm just going to close this back and hit OK. And for the vector mask, I'm going to change the color of the vector mask to black. So since my foreground color is set to black, I'm just going to hold down Alt and hit backspace to add the black color to the vector mask. And what I'm trying to do now is I actually want this part of the billboard to be visible. So I am going to zoom in and I'm going to select the brush tool, hit size on my brush. So I'm going to switch this to white and I'm just going to add this back. Alright, so I need to put this in a group, so I'm going to shift select the two layers and I'll hit Ctrl G on my keyboard and I'm going to call this hump. Alright, and I'll go to the gradient adjustments and I'm going to click on this icon. So I'm just going to come here and I'll come here. So I'm going to change the color of this to 001148. I'm going to say OK. And I'll click here again to add another wheel. And I'll come here again to change the color. And I'm going to make this 0054FF. Now hit OK. Now the location of this should be 75. And I'm just going to say OK. Go straight in here and let's see the blend if. I think this should go this way and this should come this way. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK. So for this one, I need to go back in here and I'm just going to push this in like so. So, okay. So I'm seeing some error here. So I'm going to click here on the vector mask and I need to add this part back to the scene, and I'm going to just make sure this is set to white and I'm just going to brush like so. And I'm going to do the same thing here, the same thing here like so. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another gradient map. Alright, so I'm going to come here and I want this to apply to just only the layer of the stadium, and I'm going to double click here and click here and I'm going to change this to 290303 and I'll select OK. Now I'll click here again, click here 99002C and I'll select OK. Then I'm going to add another wheel again. I'll come here and I'm going to change this to E5 74151 and I'm going to select OK. I'm just going to change this to white. Yes, that's the way it's supposed to be. And so let's play with the location now. So for this, I'm going to just make this 26. Yes. And for this one, let's see, 67 should be fine. And this one should be around, let's say 88. Yes. And I'm just going to select OK. So for this one, I'm just going to reduce the opacity of the layer just a little bit. And I'm going to double click here. I'm going to blend it this. And I'm going to hold on Alt to break the wheel. And I'm just going to set it OK. So the color I'm using here is from the jersey of the players. Let's just give them name. I'm just going to call this red. So I'm going to make a copy of this. So I'm going to click on this icon to remove it from just only that layer. I'm going to double click here to take out the blend depth option. I'm just going to push this back in like so. And I'm going to just reduce the opacity of this to something around, let's say 73. I'm just going to select the brush tool like so. And I'm going to increase the size of my brush. And I'll change my flow to something around 14 should be okay. Then I'm going to change this to black. And I'm going to take this out of the jersey of the players. And one other thing I realized again is that my light effect is too strong on Messi and the other players. So I'm just going to open the folder of the players, and on Messi, I'm just going to reduce the opacity of that curve like so. And I'm going to do the same thing to this layer. Alright, and I think this is not bad. So increase it a little bit more. So yeah. So I'm gonna do the same thing to Griezmann. So for Griezmann, so I'm just gonna select the curve on Griezmann, and I'm just gonna dial that down. It's a curve, and I'm gonna push this down. This should go down like so. They just add this gradient to our list of gradient here. So I'm just gonna click here. So I'm just gonna click on new here, and this is it right here. So I'm just gonna OK. Then I'll come here. And I'm just going to click on the gradient map here. I'm going to scroll down and select that gradient. So, and I'm going to select the brush tool. And I'm going to just make sure this is set to black. Increase the size of my brush. And I'm just going to take it out from the bottom part of the layer. And so, I still don't want it on the pitch. So I'm just going to brush here. So I'm using X on my keyboard to switch from black to white. So if I switch to black, I'm taking out the gradient from the project. And when I switch to white, I'm adding it back to the project. This dude right here. So I'm just going to take it out like so. And take it out from here. Select the curve adjustment, and I'm just going to push this down like so, and I'm going to hit the Ctrl I on my keyboard, switch this to white, reduce my flow to something around, let's say 10, and I'll increase the size of my brush, and I'm just going to add this back to the scene. So the next thing I'm doing now is to add more light to the players. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on Alt and click on the new layer icon, and I'm just going to call this lights. So I'm going to change this to dodge. Check the fill with color dodge neutral color black option here, and I'm just going to select OK. When I'm applying this, it's possible it's going to go out of the layer of the players. So I'm going to add a vector mask of these players to the light layer. So I'm going to open the group of the players, and I'll hold on Control and create a marquee selection of the players. So I'm holding on Control to create the marquee selection. I'll hold on Shift to select multiple layers. I'm going to click on the vector mask icon here. Alright, so as you can see now, we have the shape of the layers in the vector mask of that light layer. So I'm going to zoom in, and because I'm using a graphics tablet, so I'm going to check my pen pressure option here, and I'm going to reduce the size of my brush. So to make my brush smooth, I'm going to dial the smooth option to 70. I'm going to make sure that I pick a color from here, and I'm just going to dial so it's too much. So I'll make it 26. So the next thing we're doing now is to add moon to this. So the whole idea of adding the moon is to make it look like the light effect from the moon is what's reflecting on their body. So I'm just going to select the ellipse tool here, and I'm going to come here, and I'm just going to draw a shape with shift hold down, and I'll come here, I'll double click on this, pick a color from here, and then move to the lighter shade of the color, just like so. Okay, like so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on Control, all right, and I'll make a copy, move this here, and call this glow. And for this, I'm just going to pick here and pick this color again, and I'm going to select OK. Then I'm going to hold on Alt and add that color to the layer, and I'll hit Ctrl D to deselect. So I'm going to select Filter, Blur, and I'll select Gaussian Blur. Alright, and I'm going to hit OK. Next to that, I'm going to make a copy of this, and I'm going to hit Ctrl T on my keyboard, and I'm going to push this, scale this big, like so. Then I'll reduce the opacity of this just a little bit, like so. Zoom out. I need to even scale this more, so I'll select the 3 layers, and I'm going to bring out the free transform. I'm going to create a new layer, and I'll call this black. So I'm going to switch this to black, and I'll select the brush tool, increase the size of my brush, make sure this is set to 12, and I'm just going to brush like so, and this should be here, and I'm just going to brush. So the next thing I'm doing now is to stamp visible of all the layers so as to be able to take it to camera raw. So I am going to hold on Ctrl Shift Alt and E, and I'm going to get to filter, and I'll select camera raw filter. So I'm going to reduce the exposure like so, increase the highlights, alright, so as to be able to add more light to their faces, alright. Increase the contrasts a little bit. Then for the shadow, I'm just going to dial that down like so. Increase the whites. So I'm going to increase the texture so as to add contrast to the pixels. I'm going to put this up like so. And for the curve, I'm going to push this down. And I'm going to make this go up just like so. Then I'm going to select the detail option here, and I'm going to increase the sharpen like so. Alright, so as to just, you know, make every details on their faces pop out more. So I'm just going to push this up like so. And this under the HSL, I'm going to go to the saturation, and for the red, I'm just going to reduce the red. Alright, I need to make the red go down a little bit. Okay, so I'm pulling the strength of the red. So I'm just going to push the orange up a little bit, like so. The FX, I'm just going to add more grains, which is noise. So I'm just going to push this up, like so. Alright, so I think the highlight on their faces is too strong, so I'm going to go back here, and I'm just going to reduce the highlights, just like so. Alright, for the whites, I'm going to just going to dial that down just like so also, and I'm going to say okay. Alright, so this is it. So the next thing I'm doing now is just to add my text to this. Alright, so this is the final result. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and if you have not subscribed, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and remember to hit the bell so as to be notified when I post my tutorials, because I'm going to be posting more of sports poster for you guys to learn. And if you're able to achieve anything with the help of this tutorial, kindly post it on your Instagram page and remember to tag me. My Instagram handle is right here on the screen. And I'll see you guys again in my next tutorial. Peace.